Kate, we're going to start with the Telegraph inside here. The leader of the Ulster Unionist Party is a man called Doug Beattie,
not your Dougal Beattie.
Yes, not to be mistaken with our own reporter. So he's got himself into a bit of trouble through social media.
Yeah. It's a very good lesson to everybody, I think. What happened was at the weekend, he's the leader of the mainstream Unionist Party. He tweeted what he thought was a joke about another member of the DUP, Edwin Poots, and it ended up with a reference to a brothel. And it could have been construed as being referring to Edwin Poots' wife. Mm-hmm. So that went, what's the word you say when it went
viral? Viral is what it is.
What it did do then was made somebody somewhere go into all his old tweets from 10 years ago when he was in the army. And of course they discovered all sorts of pretty macho kind of tweets about women and about, he was seen as some tweets that could have been anti-Muslim and racist, and it was the story in Northern Ireland yesterday.
And it's terribly predictable, isn't it? Because we always say, and people, as a futurist, people say, look, how can you predict the future? And people say, history repeats itself because we don't learn the lessons from history. And how many times people trying to tell a joke taken out of context, where you go and look 10, 20, 30 years back, which were different times about what people said in those sort of days.
But anyway, the point was that there was a time yesterday when it looked like he might be losing his job. And of course, in the context of Northern Ireland and the need for stability and the elections coming up, that would have been a big story. In fact, his own executive then backed him. But there's no doubt about it. It's he's lost some credibility for it. But I just think it's a kind of lesson to every young person who wants to be a politician. Don't tweet now, because in 5-10 years' time, everything will be looked at. And I sometimes think if Twitter had been around when I was young, I'm not sure I would have.
Progress to the Lords.
No, it's a serious story, and it's actually interesting because there's hardly ever anything in the mainstream papers about Northern Ireland, and so it takes something like this to get it in. And of course, this week's quite important in Northern Ireland because there's going to be a decision about legally whether the executive should have taken a decision to stop the checks at the border.
Right.
They have never formally agreed to that. So Edwin Poots, the minister responsible, is now taking a paper to the executive, which would mean that probably legally they would say we have no right to do this and we're going to stop it, and then you're into a conflict situation. But that's a bigger issue.
But I also think it's a lesson not just for politicians but for everybody. Everything you say, everything you do, ever will come out into public at some stage. So if you work on that basis and say, imagine that what you're saying now is going to end up in the hands of the person you least want it to end up in.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't know. I was looking at some, what's his name? Just like
Tommy Cooper. We love Tommy.
So good.
Very good.
So I was looking at these bit of video of him yesterday, which was very, very funny. But it was from 1974 or 5 or so, and you think, but the thing is, you don't know it's going to be offensive. You just have to assume everything you say now is offensive in 20 years.
I think that's what's going to happen.
We were talking earlier and saying, actually, it's almost as if there's somebody somewhere every day saying, what can we find now that is offensive?
Yes.
What can we bring out?
Yes.
I mean, there's so many stories in the papers today about various things to do with dwarfism.
Oh, exactly. And they would sort of turn around because they're remaking Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs as a live action. and people are complaining because 6 out of 7 dwarves are not happy. See what I did there? Thank you. We're here all week. It's got to be good. But you're right. We are going crazy with wokeness, aren't we? Yeah. You have to put things in context. If you shine a spotlight on anybody from a particular era, it was a different time, and you need to put things in context. And I think that's the lesson.
And also, you do have to realise how many people wake up wanting to be offended. Are you one of those people? No, they wake up, they want to offend.
True.
I hate David Holmes. I hate his tie. I hate his dog. I hate everything to do with him.
Everybody loves Maggie. I do not believe that Maggie has hate mail. I don't. I love it.
But you know, what sort of person really wakes up wanting to be offended, and they will find something.
It's keyboard warriors, and that's what happens when you ask people who tweet, and the great audience that we have at GBNews, the fastest growing breakfast show in the world, I think it is now. It's fantastic.
Yes, in the universe.
In the universe, we'll fight over the black hole. I love it.
You know, it is a product, isn't it, of more and more media, and more 24-hour news, and you've got to keep something happening. And it's, you know, you sometimes think, wouldn't it be nice just to go back where people sent letters to each other?
But
all of that.
But they're more important, aren't they? We love a handwritten letter.
We're showing our age.
Oh, there you go. There you go. It's got to go.